All right, we are set. Okay, you guys are on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Classified Hiring Priority Committee training. Today, we are going to be going over the process of the request form, some things to consider when you're filling out the request, accessing it through TaskStream and how to re-upload it, and just completing the request, what to fill in, the appropriate data, going over the rubric we use to score, and then we will have Q&A after the training is over.
So I'll just talk about the overview of the process really quick. So you can read on your screen, but during the program review process, your department is going to, or the service area is going to identify the need for classified staff, and then the program review system will show you how to download the form, complete it, and then upload the form. Just so you know how our process works is the Classified Hiring Priorities meets and scores all the requests via the rubric. The requests are then sent to the Classified Senate to ensure the process is followed. Then it goes on up to the Institutional Effectiveness, or PI Committee, for a review, and then sent on for President's Cabinet for final review and approval. Some points we want you to consider when reviewing the form is that there's only one position request per form, meaning if you have multiple positions you want in your department, program area, service area, complete multiple forms, please. You can't use the form to request a reclassification, meaning you've got somebody in a current position and you want them reclassified. You can't do that using this form. However, if you want a higher position in your office, not necessarily a new position, but a higher position, do complete the CHP form so it's documented that you want a different position in your office. Make sure that in your program review document, you're also talking about the need for the classified position, and so that the only place it's not showing up is on the CHP form. There should be in your goals and your needs assessment discussion about what the need is for the department to have another classified person or have a first classified person. Also note that the positions are approved and funded on the campus following the regular district procedure. So all that CHP is doing is making recommendations in terms of the ranking of the positions, them being filled, and all the other wonderful policies and procedures that follow must be adhered to. Administration can also fill vacancies as needed. Say there's an emergency on campus, maybe there's a new initiative, which we all know about, and it requires a classified position that may appear, and that might not be a position on the list. And the last thing is we recommend that if you're having a position that's shared by another program or another department, that you both submit a form, but you collaborate, is that the word? Yes. Collaborate on the position request, so when we go to score them, we'll actually average the two positions together in the scoring. They wouldn't be scored separately. Oh, and maximize your word count.
Okay, next we're going to go over how you can access the form through TaskStream. So once you're logged into your TaskStream, you're going to click on your department program area. So for example, you could click on Administrative Services, Program Review. Once you're on there, on the left-hand side, you'll see Classified Staff Requests. What you're going to do is click on that to make sure it's not the faculty hiring request. That's what you're doing. Next, you're going to be checking out this area. So you're going to be finding the template at the bottom. Once you click on that, a message is going to pop up to save it as something. Just make sure you can save it to an area you can find it again, maybe your desktop. You could title it just the CHP template, so you have easy access to it later on, as well as the rubric. Make sure you see that while you're filling out the form, because it will give you some guidance. So after you save as and you have completed it, what you're going to do is you'll see where it says upload from computer. Upload that. You'll find it to the appropriate area you saved it in. For instance, if you saved it on your desktop, you can do that, or you can drag it. There's multiple ways. And then you're going to upload and close it. So If you guys have any questions on that later on, you can contact us for an in-person demo.
So that is download and upload, 'cause that's what you're going to have to do with this wonderful form. So here's the form, and I know you can see it very clearly. The form is broken into two different sections. So there first is a section that talks about historical data for your department and or program area or service area, and the second section is all the narrative that you will complete. So let's bring it up in a larger fashion so you can see it just a little bit better. So here is the CHP form. The directions up above, it's very clear that we want you to fill it out as much as it applies to you. All the questions have to be answered, but the data section can be completed in terms of what is relevant for your program area. If you do need assistance, by the way, you can just click here or go to the Mesa College website, look up CHP, and all members are available for assistance. So please include, this is a slightly sample form. Actually, we'll show you a sample. How about that? Here we go. So what you want to do is fill in all the areas that are shaded gray that apply to your department. Department name, what type of position you're looking for, and if the classified position that you want does not currently exist in the classification descriptions, we recommend choosing a position that most closely relates to what you're looking for, and you can make a notation right here that this is not the final position that you would want, but it most closely relates to what you need. If you're a career technical education program, please mark yes. And in this section, it's actually asking for both the FTEF and the month and year. Most positions on campus are 1.0 with 12 months, but we've got some classified positions that are 0.75 or 0.50, meaning only like 20 hours a week, or some 10-month positions that are only here during the regular semesters. The historical data portion needs to be completed by all departments and programs requesting positions. So you'll want to track your FTEF, your total FTEF for classified, FTE for the last 4 years. And here you want to indicate all of the classifications that you've had previously. You can add multiple lines in this section. So if you had 5 different positions, please list all the classifications that you have in your department. In the NANCE area, if you are lucky enough to have NANCE funding and NANCE staffing, we ask that you complete the number of hours per year that you've had NANCE working, and also the budget used for this. You'll notice this other element data throughout the rest of the data section is if you have other staffing history information that you would like to share, just go ahead and type what you need to on in the section and put the information for the relevant years. The next areas are broken down into instructional, student services, and admin services. So please just complete the areas that apply to you and your program or service area. In this case, in the example, Tiddlywinks, 101, 102, and 103 lab courses are the courses that are referenced to this lab tech position. So they've indicated the number of sections that have occurred in the last 4 years, also the number of students enrolled over the last 4 years. And in this department, they completed other data elements by adding their own data. They added faculty hours in the lab versus in the office. So they had a lot of faculty working in the labs instead of being able to work with students directly, setting up and whatnot. They had some overtime when they had an ILT, and they worked 200 hours of overtime, quite a bit, I do say. And the lab passing rate, they really wanted to show how the lack of an ILT has reduced the passing rate of the students in the class. Of course, there are probably other contributing factors, but that may be one of them. This sample doesn't show it, but if in student services you have a department that tracks contact hours, you can list them, the number of students enrolled in a program if you have a cohort-based program, and then you can include other data elements like number of students attending special events, or possibly
getting creative with your data, talking to your manager, chair, supervisor.
And that's an excellent point. Thank you, Olivia.
You're
Talking with your manager, your supervisor, or other folks in your office can help identify other pieces of data that you might like to include in this section. And then for admin services, folks, please include what, again, you feel is relevant, what student accounting might have as one item might be different than what the stockroom may have as a data item. So feel free to type in what you're reporting and then the information. This section, health and safety and accreditation or licensure, is just a yes or a no. It's not rated or graded. So in this section, you'll just indicate if the position is part of a health and safety need or accreditation or licensure need. If it is, you need to do an explanation and a link. This is key. If you just say it's safer if we have somebody there, that's not required. If you say OSHA requires that we have this position on campus, then put the link, and that's a required position. Because these aren't ranked, it's just notated in the recommendation list, and that is taken into consideration by administration when filling positions. Okay, so that was the data. So let's talk narrative. So in the narrative section, there are 4 questions, and this aligns with our rubric, and when we bring up the rubric in a little bit, you'll be able to see that portion. But for each question, you want to make sure that you do clearly articulate why the position is needed in, oh, there's a typo, that's just hard, in terms of the question asked, and you want to relate it back to data. So in this typo example, they're talking about how they need the ILT and how the sections have increased over the years, but how the position became vacant and the budget was cut, and also that they have increasing demands and decreasing outcomes. For each question, and some of them may seem a little repetitive, but they are specific in their requests. And I think when we get to the scoring rubric, you'll be able to see how they're different in terms of your responses. Again, this is the second question. You all can read, so I'm not going to read for you.
And we know you guys can all do better. You all get 5s because this is just a basic sample. We didn't go into so much depth with this.
I totally agree. The sample here would actually only rate as a 1 or a 3 in my book and not a 5. So what do we mean when we talk about that rating? Well, let's see. We talked about historical data table. We can skip that slide. There. Now you can read it. And then answer all 4 questions. That was clear as day. And now to the scoring.
So looking at the responses, if you guys follow along, if you're looking under the highest level, that's the specific rationale are articulated and clearly linked to details are supported by data. So just being very clear, so connecting it with the data, explaining. Mid-level response would be that the data was provided but not really linked to the rationale. So it's really connecting, again, like your narrative to the data. Minimum would be passionately written, like we really need a position because we really need a position. That's not including data. So just, again, remember, none of you guys are going to get that response level anyway. So and then the, low response level will be no response, or C, program review. You do not want to do that. You don't want to leave anything blank because then you just get a 0.
Big fat no. Okay, please don't do that. So here's the rubric. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
that's your...
no, okay. So the rubric, this is the rubric we use to score these requests. And we follow with the 5 points, 3 points, 1 point, or 0. So really, when you're writing your request, filling out all the information, you want to make sure it's aligning with the highest level or whatever score you want to receive. But everyone wants to receive a highest level, 5 points. So making sure you're following the rubric, reviewing it, talking to your colleagues, your manager, making sure you're hitting every point because this is what we're going to be following when we're scoring.
And you can also see here, if that's okay with you, is that we rank on the data. So the data that you included, so if you didn't fill out any of the section, you're going to get a 0 if you filled it out appropriately, then you'll get the points needed. And then each section, the substantiated need, the current state, program impact, and assessment plan, each are linked to the 4 questions that we asked for your narrative.
Questions.
So it's very, very connected,
yes.
I would say. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it on the rubric. All right. So here's a sample form, but we went over it already when we were discussing the form, but it is here in the PowerPoint if you'd like to read and dive into it more. And that brings us kind of to the end. Oh, that was quick.
Yeah.
That was really quick. So basically, write a good narrative, link it to your data.
Ask questions.
Please ask questions. All of us are available. So if you don't want to talk to Olivia or myself,
you have all these other lovely people.
If they're in your building, in student services and instructional services, admin services, they are all well-versed in the area of CHP and the requests. We're happy to help, though we can't edit anything you give us because we have to score them. And so that's not really fair. But we can help navigate you through the process and answer questions that you have. So we really encourage you to reach out to any and all of us.
Yeah, we're here to clarify any questions or on the request. We try to really make the request just more clear this year and making more user friendly for people. We organized it so you would know exactly what area you needed to fill out or what applies to you. And earlier in the beginning, we or on the sample form, you can see the Classified Hiring Priority Committee website, or you can just search it on the SC Mesa. You'll see all of our names and emails if you want to email us.
So that's it from CHP.
That's it.
We thank you very much and have a pleasant afternoon. Bye.